The 7 stages of Alzheimer's disease through a caregiver's eyes. This will educate you and give you insight. This video was created 2013-14 and is based on my experience caring for my mom. Deuteronomy 5:16. Honor your father and your mother as the Lord your God commands, that your days may be long and healthy upon the earth the Lord your God is giving you. Psalm 56:3. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. Galatians 6:9-10. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not and lose heart. We have the opportunity. Let us do good to all, especially to those of our household of faith.
My amazing, sweet, and beautiful mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in March 2009. There are 7 stages through the slowly progressive disease of Alzheimer's. Each person's journey through these stages is unique. These stages build upon one another and often overlap, making it difficult to know where a person is in the disease progression. It was very hard for me to distinguish what stage my mom was in and when. However, now that there is little doubt she is fully in stage 6 and I understand these stages better, I feel very strongly that I need to make this video in hopes that it will help someone watching get diagnosed sooner. Many may question why, when there is nothing you can do to prevent, slow, or cure Alzheimer's. However, I believe early diagnosis is important, so families can get affairs in order and have important discussions about end-of-life decisions. My mom and I never had those conversations. I tried, but by the time I was no longer in denial and realized what we were facing, it was already too late to converse about such complex matters. Stage 1, no impairment. This photo is my mom and our oldest son Tristan in the fall of 2000, when she was in stage 1. Individuals with Alzheimer's disease have a buildup of 2 types of abnormal bodies that clog their brains: beta amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. Researchers say these plaques and tangles start to form up to 20 years prior to the first symptoms even being noticeable. My mom was born May 27, 1943, and was completely symptom-free until about 2002. So it is my best guess that my mom was in stage 1 the years prior to 2002. Stage 2, very mild impairment. This photo is my mom interacting with Kayla, her granddaughter, in 2004, when she was in stage 2. During stage 2, very mild forgetfulness is present and can easily be blamed on stress or normal aging if the person is older, unlike my mom. The symptoms are very subtle at this stage and are usually not detected by family, friends, or medical providers. It is only through having lived through this, through hindsight, and having family videos that I can recognize that my mom was in stage 2 from approximately 2002 to 2005. During this stage, I can only bring to light 2 events that possibly indicated impairment in my mom. One was she had a series of doctor appointments. It was as if she knew something wasn't right and was searching for answers. She was even diagnosed with lupus in the fall of 2002, and then undiagnosed a year later. The other event occurred Christmas of 2002. She gave my then 3- and 1-year-old sons porcelain dolls as gifts. Her reasoning was that she saw the dolls and felt they resembled the boys as infants. A video clip follows of this particular experience.
Oh
Alzheimer's.
Yet at the same time, it didn't. It would have made more sense if the dolls were for me. However, they were for the boys. No blocks, balls, Legos, or trucks to play with. Only porcelain dolls. Stage 3, mild decline. My mom loved spending time in the outdoors exploring with her companion John. This is a photo of them taken in about 2006, during the time I believe my mom was in stage 3. Stage 3 shows increased problems with short-term memory and inability to learn new materials and trouble planning and organizing. Simple tasks, such as planning and fixing a meal, become difficult. Word issues, such as word substitutions, become noticeable. Other behaviors, such as putting household items in strange places, moodiness, isolating themselves, and hiding symptoms become common. Family members may notice these behaviors, as well as the patient lying and making false accusations against people in their lives. The person most likely is aware that something is wrong, but may not admit it. Family members and friends may begin to worry, but denial, depression, and anxiety can be present and make it difficult to distinguish between these and what is truly happening. Stage 3 is usually when misdiagnosis occurs. I believe my mom was in stage 3 from approximately 2005 to 2007. I knew something wasn't right, but it was easy to make excuses for her behaviors and issues she was having. My mom was also young, in her early 60s, so it was easy for me to be in denial. The earliest memory I have of my mom struggling happened during May 2006. I had to travel to Iowa with our youngest daughter. My mom agreed to stay and help my husband with the other 3 children while I was away. I told her to drive our van as she would be taking our 2 boys back and forth to school. On the first morning, I called just after the time she was supposed to drop them off. I asked her how it went, and she was hesitant to answer. Finally, she explained that they were still sitting in the school parking lot. She seemed flustered and said that she couldn't figure out how to open the van doors to let the boys out. I could hear a movie playing on the van DVD system, which let me know that the boys were probably unaware that they were even at school. I explained to my mom she simply needed to turn the movie off and make sure the van was in park so the doors would unlock. This was easy to excuse as she hadn't driven our van before, and the child locks on the doors were a more modern feature, allowing the doors to only be unlocked if the vehicle was in park. But really, during this stage, the thing I remember most is the complaining and false accusations. My mom seemed absolutely miserable during this time. She complained about everything in her life and nothing seemed right. She was negative, which was very unlike her. She struggled with baking and cooking, and she had always been an excellent cook. She made chicken noodle soup one night, but forgot to put in the chicken. She burned the Thanksgiving pies, yet still brought them to the family gatherings. She changed some of her habits, and she would wear strange clothing combinations. On one occasion, she was wearing 6 different necklaces. Another example is she started wearing thong underwear and never had before in her life that I know of. By 2007, I was worried enough to get her to a neurologist. She was misdiagnosed that May with depression. For me, having a reputable doctor look me in the eyes and tell me that my mom did not have dementia was my ticket back into denial. Stage 4, moderate decline. This picture was taken in July 2008 at a family gathering during the time period that I believe my mom was in stage 4. Stage 4 presents increased decline in short-term memory. The ability to remember recent events is drastically impaired. Everyday tasks become more and more difficult, the planning of them as well as executing them. Higher level tasks such as managing finances becomes extremely difficult. Individuals will repeat statements, stories, or questions over and over. They may also dress inappropriately, no longer participate in hobbies, have mood swings, and have paranoia. My approximation of my mom being in stage 4 is from 2007 to 2009. My mom would repeat stories from the past over and over.
My mom's doing that too. Bless her heart.
A huge red flag for our family was when she began telling the story of her first child's birth, my oldest brother. Robert lived only a few hours. We knew about him, that mom almost died giving birth, that he didn't make it, and that was all we knew. However, in stage 4, my mom began telling the story of his birth and death in detail, as if it had just happened. She would tell this story over and over and to anyone who would listen. She would repeat other stories too, sometimes getting past events mixed in with current events, all in one story. An example of this is when my brothers went on an Alaskan hunt. During one single phone conversation, she told me about their hunt at least 3 times. She spoke of my Uncle Buddy and my dad being on the hunt with my brothers. My uncle and dad had gone to Alaska years before, but not on the trip my brothers were on. During this stage, my mom struggled with mail and finances. She was making donations through the mail and ordering items she didn't need. She bought a book about Alzheimer's disease because she thought it sounded interesting. My mom was a banker all her career life. It was during this stage I was finally forced out of denial because of banking errors. Along with being $1,000 overdrawn, she was making some very basic and some very strange errors. See for yourself. This first example is from June 2008. The numbers and written words to correspond with the numbers don't match. She has $227.29, but only wrote 229 over 100. She forgot the $27. This next example is from July 2008. I felt this error was the most startling. She signed her name on the for line and left the signature line blank. Then, in August 2008, she used a check out of sequence. The other checks during this time were all in the 830s. On the next example, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong, except she didn't put the year. It was September 2008. This final example from December 2008 is what I believe was her attempt to withdraw $275 cash. However, the numerical amount and the written amount are very confusing. The words indicate she wanted $275. The numbers indicate she wanted $200.75. Why would she get cash with 75 cents? It just doesn't make sense. So, in fall 2008, I started searching for the best doctor I could find, Dr. Bernick of the Lou